Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDawgz.com here with Mike Safir, the head of our sharp trading plays at PickDawgz.com. Our newest feature, basically, sharp trading plays are lines that are based purely on the lines. So it has nothing to do with who's playing. It could be any sport, anything, at any time. Based upon a line, the game could be a week away. The line could be at the right place. And you bet it then. So it's just a little different style of betting than our straight generic handicapping, which I love, and that's what we do as well. We have something for everyone at PickDawgz. Mike, welcome to the show. And, of course, thank you for bringing sharp trading plays to our PickDawgz family.
Happy to be here. Happy to educate. That's one of my most favorite things to do, is not only giving the public and our community an opportunity to win money, but also the ability to learn what we're actually doing here at Sharp Trading Plays.
All right, we're going to get into that maybe a little bit later, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to dive right into the games. I'm just going to read down the roster of games. We're going to go through one at a time. Mike's going to tell us, have the line move that we need to pay attention to, line move that we should maybe just have on our watch, or line move that we missed it. So we're just going to go right down the line here. We're going to go to the first one, Tennessee against the Chargers. I'm showing threes in this one by the Chargers. I see some 3.5s out there by the Circa, which is the sharpest book in town, and Westgate as well at 3.5. My lines might be a little bit delayed, but they should be right in the ballpark on this thing. Meanwhile, I'm seeing threes with heavy juice at some of the square books like FanDuel and, of course, those DraftKings guys. Mike, buy, sell, or hold, basically. What's going on here?
Sell this one. Can't take the 3 with juiced price. It's just not, there's no value there. If I see some 3.5s, maybe a 4, typically from an overreaction from last week with Tennessee laid an egg, you could find some really good value at home, even though the Chargers going 0-2 would definitely crucify their season. But if I'm seeing 4s out there, I would take it right now. I'm just laying off.
It's just the wrong way for us. We got so they're not all going to be plays in sharp trading plays, but correct. The ones that are, they are. And this will change over time. It's changing as we're speaking. We got the Falcons and the Packers. This one a little bit, 2 teams that won in week 1, 2 quarterbacks, fairly light on experience, but Love has been there for a while. A lot of money and bets here on the Falcons side, but I see zeros and -1s for the Packers, depending on where we're looking. Circa has it as a 0, and the Packers -1 at some of the square books. Packers are a very public team generally.
They are. They're coming off a very big dominating performance where a lot of people thought that the Bears are going to be a little bit more for real this year. I do see some ones out there that are even money. I love that. That's a press all the way. Again, what we do here is we don't bet big on games. We bet smart. So if I'm finding a good value on a 1 at even money, I love the Packers. I think they have a very good team. I think the Falcons are overvalued and inflated because of last week's performance. They're going to face a much tougher defense that has a much better stopping the run defense than they did last week. So they're not going to just run all over like they did the previous week. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson ran all over last week. So love the Packers at an even 1. I say even juice.
Texans against the Colts, another battle of rookie QBs. A lot of rookie QBs this year, but Texans and Colts, 2 teams that lost in week 1 to AFC South teams. So losing in week 1 really isn't going to hurt you all that much. What do you think in this one? Looks like it's light money on Houston and heavy bets, and of course the opposite on the Colts, who really, to me, looked better on the field than the other. But of course, one played the Jaguars, who were a playoff team a year ago, and the other one played the Ravens, who, well, they looked like a Super Bowl team in many ways.
Much different teams that they played. The Ravens at home, week 1. We knew that was going to be a stomping. I do believe C.J. Stroud played well. I'm laying off this game. I don't like it. Right now, the line is factored in with, even if Richardson doesn't play and Minshew starts for him, I don't think that's a big downgrade from Richardson to Minshew. I'm going to wait on this one. This is one that I will probably wait till later in the week, but I just don't see enough value right now to to actually put anything down on it.
Well, the next one we'll go to, of course, I lose my screen right just in time for it. But we've got the Tigers, the Lions taking on the Seahawks. Still baseball season as well going on. But we've got the Lions taking on the Seahawks. Of course, the Lions, very, very public win. We do see reverse line movement going on here with some with the Seahawks, and then the steam and the overall here to the Lions. To me, it's like, once again, that reaction, overreaction, but we have a line that's in that 5.5, 6 range.
If I could get 6, if I could get 6 even, or even laying 110, love the Seahawks here. I do believe the Lions last week, definitely an overreaction. They're just getting it juiced up simply because they beat a Chiefs that honestly the team wasn't that good with no Kelsey on the field, no Chris Jones. It's going to be a much different scenario. The Seahawks are going to be fired up. Losing early in the season, usually week 2, they're fired up because going 0-2, that potentially could miss the playoffs. So not saying they're going to win the game outright, not playing them on the money line, but if I could find 6 at some point throughout the week, getting even money or even 110, all over the Seahawks.
Got Tampa Bay taking on Chicago. Big winner in Tampa Bay, knocking off the Vikings on the road. Very, kind of, I thought it was a sharper play. And then the Bears, who a lot of people were behind this year, that they were finally going to get a piece of those Packers, absolutely busted up. This one, I'm seeing the Bucs opening here, -3, and that's, of course, with Baker Mayfield. And I see a -2.5 at FanDuel with the Bucs here with high juice. But this is with Baker Mayfield, a guy that nobody wanted to come within a 10-foot pole of a year ago.
Nobody wanted. Definitely the public was not on the Bucs last week. Pretty miraculous. He played very well. I actually happened to watch that game throughout, and he looked very comfortable in the pocket. -2.5. I think the Bears are just an atrocity at this point. They have no ability to get the ball down the field. Their defense couldn't stop anybody. Yeah, I'm putting, I think that the Bucs could be better than the Packers this year. And if I could grab them at 2.5, I definitely, if it's 3 or 3.5, would not touch them. But at home, the Bears have to travel. Not sure about the weather yet, if it's going to be, sunny or is it going to be rainy. But if it's sunny,
it's going to be hot either way. It's going to be hot either way.
It's going to be hot either way. And I like the Bucs. I like the Bucs laying 2.5 even money that I do see right now. It's juiced up, but if I could find it cheaper throughout the week, definitely my clients will be seeing that play on Sharp Trading Plays.
As we move down the card here, just a reminder to everybody that Mike Sphere runs our Sharp Trading Plays at PickDawgz.com. It's a new product that we have. You could go to the Premium Picks tab and you could just click on where it says Sharp Trading Plays. Mike and I did a video together to try and describe the product to you, and of course you can call or text them at the number that you see on the screen, and you can find out more about how Sharp Trading Plays. See if they fit you. Now, this is the pros of Sharp Trading Plays is, well, you have a very high probability of turning some sort of profit. It could be a very nice profit. It could be a smaller profit, but you have a high probability of turning a profit, but you're doing so on high volume. So it's a different style of doing it. Also, it's not necessarily, it's possible you could have both sides in the same game. A lot of these different things could happen of that nature. So it's not like traditional betting and handicapping where you handicap the game, you go bet it, you sit in front of the TV set and you root for somebody. This is more straight, I'm betting and this is how I make money. And I do this, as well as my regular plays. It's different. One is my work money, my real money, which is really my sharp money. And then my other money is my degenerate money or my handicapping money, whichever the case may be and whatever the game may be. It depends if Miami's playing or not.
Did you know, just not to sidetrack here because we're going down the games, did you know this little stat about Miami Stadium, what they did?
The new stadium or the old one?
The way the sun hits the opposing team.
It's always been like that in Miami. Always.
They set you up for failure.
Always has been like that in Miami. So the old Orange Bowl was the only stadium that was ever built to run east to west. the old Orange Bowl was. And this one, it's the same thing. It just blasts the opposing team with the baking sun, and that's why you'll often see the Dolphins in the white uniforms at home, especially against teams like the Raiders or the Saints that wear the dark uniforms. They will always put them in the dark ones. And on those hot days, the later in the year, obviously the better, that they're going to do that to you. So it's something they've always done, and that's why the longest home winning streak in NFL history, Miami Dolphins. Longest home winning streak in college football history, Miami Hurricanes. No coincidence.
No coincidence. There you go. Sharp nuggets on sharp trading plays.
Yeah, no coincidence whatsoever. But yeah, so I was saying, sharp trading plays is something that I do as well. And I on a side note, we'll get more into it as we go on with Pick Dawgz. It's something that I've been trying to integrate in with what we do. Just because you love an idea doesn't make it easy to blend in, because it's not for everyone. So I don't want to tell everybody, oh, I've got this great thing, but you can't have it. So it's like, it makes it hard, but it's like we have a good portion of our community that are already involved in sharp trading plays, and they really like it, even though it's not what they're used to. But sometimes, it all depends. Are you in it just to make money? Or are you in it to bet for the excitement and all those other things? Personally, I like the bet and the excitement, and to me, what makes it fun is always winning and cashing. Got the Bills against the Las Vegas Raiders. I didn't, at the time of shooting this, the Bills have not played yet a game. So, barring any massive injuries in this game, the line is already out for it, and it's the Bills, a very big favorite here against the Raiders.
I'm gonna wait on this one. I do like to see the outcome, because there could be a catastrophic injury. I don't want to tie my money up for the following week, knowing that the line could be even better. I don't see a huge advantage by taking advantage of it now. 9.5 is a big number as it is. Maybe if it was much lower, and it could definitely already be factored in, but you just never know. I'm going to hold off on this one.
I'm going to pound the Bills personally. I see a 9.5 here at FanDuel and a 10 at Circa. So to me, I think that 9.5 seems pretty juicy. I might not get a chance at that again, especially if the Bills are able to pull the win out tonight against Aaron Rodgers and company. We've got Jacksonville against Kansas City. Trevor Lawrence, Pat Mahomes, two playoff teams. Chiefs coming off the loss. Jaguars, oh man, they just wanted to cover like no one's business. That goal line stand at the 1 yard line up by 10 to end the game. That's a team that, they clearly had covering the point spread in mind. Mike, what do you think of this battle?
God, what a tough game. This is, if just from a sharp standpoint, if you could find even money, which I'm seeing right now at a few different books on the Chiefs, you got to pound them. In this situation, again, overinflated. If the Chiefs would have won that game last week, they would have probably been 4.5, 5. The fact that you could grab him at 3 with the potential of Kelsey coming back, I do think that it's a huge advantage. So if you could get him at 3, the Jaguars, this is really could be potentially how their season is going to play out. If they win this game and they make a statement and they go up 2-0 in the league and be a contender, and the Chiefs are 0-2, that's a huge difference. That's why week 2 is so important. But I love 3 here with reduced juice. Can't expect Patrick Mahomes to go 0-2, especially
right out of the gate. This is the most bet game so far. It's Monday.
Okay.
Monday Night Football hasn't been played. This game has almost 2 to 3 times as many more bets on it than any of the other games, except for that Detroit-Seattle game. And so these are the two teams that played on Thursday night. So that could have something to do with it. We've got the Baltimore Ravens visiting Cincinnati. Baltimore off to a slow start in that game against the Texans, but that just created a lot of opportunity for halftime betting. And I have to say, I bet, well, not my entire bankroll, but more than half of it. And I know that's not what the doctor recommends, but I don't really care because that's my fun money. Well, like I always say, winning is fun, but it just seemed like an opportunity that might not present itself all that often. I just felt confident enough about it that we did have a mismatch. And of course, in typical Ravens style, they put 14 points on the board coming out of the half, like they really hated their guts or something. And, you know, when Zero starts running around like that, a rookie quarterback just, you know, he doesn't want any piece of that. So, you know, can the Ravens repeat? Because Joe Burrow, obviously, not a good day in Cleveland, but now he gets home to the jungle.
I don't like the overreaction on either team. I do believe that the Bengals are much better than what they put out on the field last week, but getting that hook at 3.5, I'm going to wait on this one a little while simply because right now I'm just not seeing reduced juice on that 3.5. If I could find it midway through the week, because the public is usually traditionally going to sway the lines come Thursday. So after
Just looks
Thursday,
like the Ravens are going to be a very public dog. You would just have to think that with that line, you know, with the Bengals favored by 3.5 points, just seems, you know.
you got to love the Ravens here. From a public standpoint or sharp standpoint, you're getting that hook, a team that is way better than what they put out on the field last week with the actual score being good. But we saw a lot of injuries. There's a lot of question marks. We also didn't have Mark Andrews. When I say we, I'm a Ravens fan. For those that don't know, I'm a diehard fan. But no biased opinion here. I'm simply going with the Ravens because I'm getting that 3.5.
There's an interesting story with this next game, the Arizona against the Giants, and that is they're not showing early betting percentages on the total in this game, which is probably an under, you know, all the way. But the thing is that,
wow,
yeah, 39.5. So we saw this same total in the Iowa State game, but you know, it's like just not a number that you see all that often.
Well, those are two running teams, and that's pretty common for Iowa to have that type of total. But in the NFL, with no weather affecting, to have 30 under 40
in a dome. This is in a dome,
right? Just in general, usually that's a weather game when it's a blizzard, and that may be a fact. But I can't believe it.
So sharp trading plays once again. That especially in dome stadiums, I would think is when they would be early. Is that it's not just sides; it could be totals, first halves as well, or it's just.
So it's half times, just like you mentioned. We were all over the Browns in the second half. We were all over the Ravens over in the second half. Again, it was underinflated. We found a lot of value, and we're doing that in real time. So we have a platform called Telegram where you're actually getting the releases in real time sent to you by text message. So you're in the know exactly what we're doing. We also stream live, no different like you're listening to this actual recording. We do a lot of education on the channel, so you're feeling like you're becoming a sharp yourself without having to do a lot of work. So if you're really interested in learning how to be a professional without putting more than 5 to 10 minutes a day of work so you could still be successful and be present in your life, this is for you.
Absolutely. So on the Arizona Giants game, anything that you would see here? Because really what we're seeing is light tickets and even lighter money here on Arizona. Just really a kind of cavalry charge onto the Giants despite last night's beatdown loss. We're seeing 4.5. I still see a 4 at FanDuel on this.
I don't like the game. I think I'm going to lay off this one altogether. I don't know what the Giants are going to be. And Arizona, just too many backups, too many guys that are just not proven. I really don't put a lot of emphasis. I don't see a value in price right now. This is just a game that I'm just going to watch and be a fan and value and see enough information for the following week. But just in general, I'm going to lay off this one.
So they on the next game, it's the Rams against the 49ers, and the 49ers big road favorites in this game. We saw them go on the road to Pittsburgh and just absolutely bust up the Steelers. Just, I have to say, for the 49ers, a lot of it had to do with the talent that they had, but they just seemed to be the more prepared team. And a lot of times that's what it has to do with. And Mike Tomlin generally, is great at it, but just I think he was out prepared in that one. I don't know if he was out coached, but he was just out prepared in that thing. And the 49ers just looked mid-season form. Brock Purdy, I didn't see what his final MVP futures dropped to after that game, but I'm going to guess probably at least in half. It was 40-1 when the game started. I'm going to guess he's 10-15-1 for MVP after that game.
Let me ask you a question. If you didn't have the preseason with Kenny Pickett and you saw what he did and he lit up the scoreboard in preseason, what would you make the line now if they played again this week?
I would have made it exactly the same that it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and I think if they played again, I would take the Steelers again. I just would.
Yeah, I think it would have been 4. If there was no 4 at home, it's just a typical mismatch of teams. I don't think the Steelers are what they are. I think Kenny Pickett's rise in the preseason gave them the clout to basically believe that that team is going to show up versus a very talented on both sides of the ball San Francisco well-coached team.
Well, I think Pittsburgh's headed in the right direction, and I think, they're not going to win them all, and they're not always going to look good, but at the end of the season, they usually will have the numbers to be very, very close. It's just they've been just on the wrong side of it the last couple of years. Just seems that, to me, we just see the Steelers watching watching a game on the Jumbotron, sitting out as a team out on the 50-yard line way too often, when this is a team and a coach that usually is usually safely in, usually gets into those games with the Ravens. They get into those weird scores, with weird numbers in those games. And, usually they kind of hold their own against the teams in their division. Just haven't done it recently. When we look at, San Francisco here as an 8-point dog, minus 107 juice I see, but I also see minus 112s in places. To me, it just looks like a very, very big number here against a Rams team that quietly dominated Seattle in a very tough building.
Very tough building. Dominated. I mean, they dominated Seattle start to finish. I love auto bet Rams 8. I could get them at 110 right now. You're going to see that play on Sharp Trading Plays this week. Love the spot. Divisional game. Usually play each other tough traditionally. And I think the defense that the Rams put out there when everybody really counted them out this year, Matthew Stafford just showed up. He showed up. Didn't matter who the receivers were. He showed up. So I saw what I needed to see. I don't think it's an overreaction. I think people undervalued the Rams, and I didn't going into last week. So I love the 8 at home, and it's going to be a tough place for them to just blow out the Rams. 8's a huge number, so take the Rams plus 8.
As a fan, sometimes he gets forgotten when the team wasn't as good like they were last year. But Aaron Donald just looked like he was in just tip-top shape yesterday in that game. Looks like he lost a couple pounds. I don't usually follow all this stuff all that close. It looked like he had slimmed down a little bit. And I'll tell you what, man, he was a wrecking crew before that, and now he just looks even better than he looked.
He's a freak. He's a freak.
It's unbelievable. It's and that's what I said about Anthony Richardson when the Colts drafted him. Everyone called him a freakish talent. I'm like, the NFL is loaded with guys with freakish athletic ability. Like an Aaron Donald, a big guy like that can really run and do all those things. We go to Dallas against the Jets. I'm going to guess that this is going to be sort of like that Buffalo play for you. Probably going to need to get something under the hat to work with here. But Dallas, coming off of that big win over the Giants, obviously favored here against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers at home for their home opener. We're seeing 3s, but we're also seeing 3.5s.
Yeah, this is another typical spot where I'm going to lay off. Just can't expect there's a catastrophic injury on a Monday night game, which could easily happen. A lot of times I look at spreads based on, is the injury factored into the spread? If it's not, then I'm jumping all over it. And then if it is, then it's really no edge. That's really the advantage that I provide with my groups to the entire community that we deal with, is we're educating them on, look, the line might be factored into the spread, and I'm giving you an update, not just based on injury, but explaining to you that 4.5 is factored in if Breece Hall is out. Does it really matter because now they have Dalvin Cook? We don't know. We don't know what team's going to show up week 1. There really is no preseason for any of these teams now. So week 1 is always going to be wonky. You really have to lay off some games and just enjoy it from an entertainment and watching and the eyeball test, because week 2, 3, 4, and 5, that's where you can really get some damage and crush these books.
two teams that lost, or well, the Commanders actually won on opening day. The Broncos lost. Sam Howell actually, I believe, was the only rookie quarterback that walked off the field a winner in week 1. All the rest of them were losers, but he did not cover the spread. He was favored by a touchdown at home against the Cardinals. I don't know how I got sucked into that thing. I don't. It was one of those bets. I bet the Commanders, and I just scratched my head the whole way home on that thing. But the Broncos, light betting action on them, but a lot of money coming in on the Broncos. Still a lot of faith in Sean Payton out there, a guy that I just love fading the Broncos. I just can't help myself. So it's always a struggle for me, and this is why the sharp trading plays is really good for people that find themselves stuck on as a fan or just have certain prejudices against teams, or like in other ways. Like me, I'm not a big Broncos fan because I feel they're way overrated and they were given credit for something they hadn't done just coming into the season because they hired Sean Payton as a head coach. Well, it's still a team that didn't win a lot of games, and these weren't his pieces of the puzzle that he got to put together to run what he does.
I will bet the Broncos this year because of value, because of the spread, but I hate doing it. I'm just sick and tired of Russell Wilson. The guy I thought this year was going to be different. We had the Broncos last week, full transparency, didn't get the job done, but that's what we do here. We give out full transparency. Not every game is going to be a winner, but we're going to win a lot more than we lose. Right. And I'm just sick and tired of Russell Wilson. The guy is just done. He was a Pete Carroll disciple that got the job done in that system. I don't know if you're going to be able to turn him around. So that's my 2 cents on Russell Wilson. Sorry, you'll probably hear a lot of that throughout the year, even when the price is right throughout the year. And I'm going to take him, not this week, laying off the game.
So now we'll look at the primetime games. There's 4 primetime games this week. We did not talk about the Thursday game, Philadelphia against Minnesota. Minnesota, obviously, disappointing loss, and Philadelphia looked very convincing once again against the New England Patriots. But at the same time, Philly at home here, very, very light money action. The number of bets split right down the middle here out of the gate, and we're looking at 7.5 on these things. Circa at 7, everybody else at 7.5. Oh man, it's almost like they're forcing me to take the Vikings and the points here on the road.
It's amazing. You have to, it's an auto bet with the Vikings. Overreaction, tough break. They had a lot of high
hopes. Number right here at 7.5.
Love that. Love the reduced juice. I'm looking at it. That Circa usually will, just to give you guys a little nugget, Circa is a sharp book that if you see the line much worse than your DraftKings FanDuel, Circa's sharp money mostly, and they don't back winners out. So what happens is when the line's moving early in the week, usually it's sharps moving on it. It's not a blind play. You can't just follow that and be exclusive. But that is one of the factors that we use, because what we're doing here, we're called top-down betting. Top-down betting means we're finding where the sharp money's moving, and then we're picking off numbers like FanDuel and DraftKings that we're getting value on because those are recreational books that do back winners out. So a lot of the education that we could provide will definitely help just an average Joe looking to be guided and mentored throughout the season to be successful.
If you really pay attention on like a Thursday night or Saturday right before college games start or right before NFL games start, you'll see the board will light up, and that's where you really have to be able to track the discrepancies, or you have Mike to track these for you, because that's what he's doing. So that's where the advantage is. The idea of sharp trading isn't to necessarily outsmart and to be the best game picker. It's to beat the books at their own game and flip the edge on them because you've got a better line than they do on the game. You've got your money in good. You don't always win, but you'll win you win more times than you lose. So while you might be dealing with a smaller percentage win rate because you're turning your bets over on volume, a small percentage on a really high volume, even though your outlay is the same. It's the turning it over and turning it over. And anyone who's, started betting, when they were young and didn't have any money, right? We all know about like having to wait till the game is over to put your next bet in, right? And all that other stuff. So it's like, but with sharp trading plays, it's not necessarily you're waiting for the money to put the next one on. It's just you have all this action churning, and then you kind of just, at the end of the day, you're not looking, well, I lost this one, won this one, won this. It's like I started with $100, now I'm at $130. And it's like, right, net sum gain, right?
And also, you have to have enough gasoline in the engine. If you're going to tie up some capital on Monday and Tuesday, you have to have enough to still do the daily releases, because a lot of the times we will bet at post. What that means is the public moves the line an hour before game time, where we jump on that spread because the public helps us, versus early in the week we're following the sharp money. So the coaching is so important with bankroll money management.
I find for me the sharp betting that I do and the guys that I work with, it helps me when they're tying up the money early, because it's less that I have to use to make stupid bets, which I love to do. It's like you guys hear me on the morning show. I'm not, I'm certainly not above, just betting a team on spite alone, and that's part of what we do. But it's money that's wrapped up that I basically know I'm going to turn some kind of profit, just a matter of how much, and it's not every single game, it's not every single day, it's not every single week, but over time, I know I'm going to make money, so it doesn't really matter all that much. We go to our next one, and it is Sunday night. It's the Patriots and the Dolphins, a traditional rivalry. The Patriots losing on Tom Brady Day of all days. Mac Jones, I have to feel that his days are probably numbered here in New England after, 3rd and 9, and he throws a 7-yard pass into the ground. It didn't look like he could get the ball there the full 9 yards. And I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah, he couldn't do it last year. Looks like they really didn't give him a lot more weapons. They got Juju Smith-Schuster, who...
But the Patriots, the Sharps were all over the Patriots in that game. The sharp money, it looked like a sharp Cleveland Browns play, from a few years ago. What we have here, though, is we have the Dolphins 2.5 point road favorites. I see some 2s out there as well, but those are the square books, FanDuel, DraftKings, while, our friends at Circa are actually at 2 as well, but with heavy juice here on the Dolphins.
And I'll tell you what, as much as I just downplayed how bad Mac Jones can be, if I could see a 3 out there, I'm going to lay off for right now. Throughout the week, if I see a 3 out there for very cheap, when I say very cheap, under 115, 110, that's cheap for me. Even less, probably better. But don't underestimate the Belichick effect. It's a division game. They're at home. They got embarrassed early in the game against the Eagles, and they came back to an extent, but they have the talent, they have the defense. He's going to take away the deep ball. I can assure you, Tyreek Hill is not going to run wild like he did last week. So if he's going to take that away from Tua's going to have to make some hard, tougher passes than he had last week, because the Chargers can't stop anybody. I mean, they're all over the place. And it's going to be tougher than what you expect. If I see 3, love a home dog in this situation. Again, if you're already on my sharp trading plays program, if you see a 3 out there for the Patriots, you better believe that play is going to be on the board. Because, again, that's a big factor in week 2. Overreaction. Week 1, not going to be an issue if I see 3 all over it.
All right, we got two more games to go. Personally, for me, I don't care what any of that other stuff does. If my syndicate plays ends up on New England, it ends up wherever those end up. But in the sharp, trading plays, it ends up wherever it ends up. But for me, I'm a homer. I'm personally going to be betting some on the Dolphins, so I might be betting against myself in that one personally. So with my fun money.
Well, that's why you don't manage the account. I do it for you. You are just looking at dividends.
That's exactly what it is. It's like it's no different than investing in the stock market or anything like that. It just happens to be sports, and it's like it happens to be something where the return, I believe, is better, and it's because it's just I believe over time that the formula is there, so it's going to win, you know. And there's a reason the books, you know, don't just let us run hog wild there. I mean, there's a reason, because they don't like to lose. But we've got the Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints road favorites in the 3 to 3.5 range. All different places. 3 with big juice is the most popular. Carolina, of course, rookie QB, losers at Atlanta, while the Saints edged out the Titans.
I'm staying away from this one. Another home dog. I mean, how many +3s are we seeing out there with home dogs this week?
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
And it's the same scenario. Team that lost last week versus a team that won last week. And it's a typical overreaction. Again, the Panthers, out of the rookie quarterbacks, look the best. The Saints, again, with Derek Carr, look good, but didn't get the job done with the cover. They played a tough Tennessee team. I do like, if I can get a 4 here with the Panthers, I'm not playing anything on this game early in the week. If you could find some reduced juice on a 4, again, that home dog. I love home dogs in general. I mean, I think you even made this whole Pick Dawgz community because you love dogs so much your entire life that you just happen to brand it that way. So getting that 4 at home in a divisional game, run it. I love it. It's not an auto bet in this situation, but I do like 4, especially in a division game, because the Panthers have to win a game, and it could be a good Bryce Young, you know, opening ceremony. He's pumped. It's his first game, you know, getting the opportunity in front of that crowd. So I do like the 4 there, but I'm going to lay off for now. This is going to be a game I'm going to watch.
I'm going to guess the line's going to go the other way in that one. Just a hunch. But we go to our last game. This one a little bit surprising to me that the Browns are favored on the road against the Steelers. This is a rivalry game, so a little bit, you know, different story there. But still, nonetheless, we see 2s and 1.5s here in this one. Of course, Pickett, as you said, preseason reaction. Deshaun Watson looked a lot closer to the Watson that we had seen recently, as opposed to look to see the Watson, a different Watson than.
Sorry,
it's okay. But Deshaun Watson looked a lot different. He looked a lot like the Watson of old than the Watson that we saw last year in Cleveland. Mike, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. My camera went out.
It's okay. If you could just finish it up, we'll just stick a picture of you in the slot when we're ready to go. What do you got here?
Maybe the books are watching the show. They're not happy with me picking off the numbers anymore.
Well, we've got the Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
I'll take Steelers at home getting the points.
All right, so we'll have more on these. We're going to be doing these videos every single day. Most of them are just going to be a little bit quicker than this one. We're not going to go through all the games. We're just going to pick out a few different scenarios, 2 or 3 games a day, and that where the line has moved that we want to make sure that you guys have seen the action that's going on, and then we'll get all the way through. And then, of course, you know, game day, and we'll see what you guys want to hear about, what you guys want to talk about. And, of course, any questions, call Mike at the number that you see on the screen. Text him at the number you see on the screen. It doesn't mean you're obligated to buy or join or do anything. It just means he'll answer your questions for you. And if you think it's for you, great. If not, well, you're still part of our Pick Dawgz family, and we got tons of other stuff for you, free and premium. Anyways, this is Mitch with Mike. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another edition of Sharp Trading Plays here at Pick Dawgz. I'm not sure what the title of the show will be, but it will be based on the sharp action and be where the sharps are. As we always say with the Sharp Trading Plays, be the one who moves the line. Don't be caught on the wrong side of things. So make it a winning day. We appreciate all of you. Mike, thanks for joining us. Next time, we'll have your camera stick on the whole time. Make it a winning day, everybody.
Thank you.